Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning, 15 minutes. The special Elul edition, the Maimah of Ani L'Jedi from the Alter Rebbe. Beautiful, beautiful Maimah. One of the Maimorim that really, I'd say, changed me and really showed me Chassidus is very real and practical. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people know the mashal. It's a very famous mashal of Ani of kings in the field, but not that many people have actually seen it inside. So here we have the opportunity to look at it inside and see it for ourselves, instead of just like making up stuff or hearing random bits and pieces and getting it for ourselves. Yeah, there's a lot of my mind at the Rebbe based on this Ani L'Jedi, which I'd also love to do, but I think better go to the original and start with that. Just yeah. Another thing. One time we've taught this Maimah a few times in Chassidus, and I remember a few years ago we taught this. And there was a lady. She's been in Crown Heights for many years. She was an older lady, and she goes, as a learner, she's like, I'm so confused. So I'm like, what? So she goes, I understood from the marshal or the king in the field was that I don't have to do anything because the king's in the field. It's easy. And that's it. It's relaxed. On Tishrei, when the king's in the palace, I have to work hard. But on Elul, I don't have to do anything because the king's in the field. And she's like, but I'm seeing here from the Maimah, it's totally different. It's like, yeah. Very, very interesting. Yeah, just prefatory remarks on the Maimah itself. So the Maimah essentially discusses the specialness of Elul and how really Elul is the key to Tishrei. And Tishrei is the key for the year. So you have to, you have to have a good Elul, which can help you have the proper Tishrei, which will help the whole year. And the Maimah will explain what's meant to be done, and then we'll troubleshoot and we'll go through issues that you might be having and could be getting in the way of being successful. And the Maimah will give you solutions. So yeah, it's very practical, very, very good. Okay. And with that, there's a lot of places you can find it. You can find it. It's on page Daf Lamed Beis in Likutei Torah. There's also, I have this book that we've had in the past. I think they're out of print. I looked around the stores. The Chassidic Treasure Trust from Sechs in English, I think it is. But I think they're out of print. You can get online in English, also in Hebrew. Yeah. Anyway, so Ani L'Jedi. Sif Aleph. So Ani L'Jedi v'Jedi li. Says the Shiur Shiurim, I am to my beloved is to me. Yeah, Shiur Shiurim is also talking about a love song between God and the Jewish people, referencing the husband and wife, but really it's referencing God and the Jewish people. And also just a quick thing we want to do, dedicate the Shiur in honor of Shner Zalman ben Sarah Chana. Yes, I am to my beloved is to me. Rosh Hashanah Elul. Now the first letter in these four words, the Aleph, the Lamed, the Vav, and the Lamed, spells Elul. So how does this possibly connect to Elul? Elul begins the aspect of Ani L'Jedi, I am to my beloved. What does that mean that I am to my beloved? It means I know this is the arousal from below. Until you have Yom Kippur, which is the godliness being drawn down, which is V'Jedi Li. So Ani L'Jedi, I am to my beloved means. He's explaining, he's teaching, what does it mean? It means an arousal from below. It means you go yourself and you try to connect to God. Arousal from below in any terms. It's you push yourself. It's like, so to speak, going on, let's say you go on a diet. So a lot of times going on a diet doesn't work and doesn't last, but it's not really coming from you. It's coming from above. Whereas Ani L'Jedi is coming from us. It's talking about our connection with God, is that we have to make it ourselves. And this is in general one of the fundamental concepts of Chabad Chassidus, is that it wants it to become ours. says Hayom Yom, so I think it was Shabbos. It says the avoda milamayla, what comes from above, what God gives from above, is higher. What comes from below is more cherished. Because when you put in the effort, it's a whole different level. It's coming from you, it's a whole different level. And this is what Elul is all about. The end of the day that I am coming close to God. In Elul, we have to put in the effort to come close to God. And as we're going to explain further on in the Maimon. Whereas on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, which is Hamshachas Elokusai, the Yisparach Lamata, the drawing down of godliness coming from below, coming from above to below, this is Galus, God revealing himself. Like it says, it says, Smoiloi Tachas L'Reish. The left hand is under my head, which is referencing to Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. V'yamini techabkeini, and the right hand is embracing me, which is the sukkahs, like the hag of the sukkah. From Rosh Hashanah until Yom Kippur, hu b'chinas smeli. Rosh Hashanah until Yom Kippur is the left, which is b'chinas yira, which is this level of sphere. Like we see clearly on this assessment shuvah, the feeling and what we get is one of fear. The fish is why do we have it that way? Because Uzman is galus malchus. That's the time of the revelation of God's kingship. So we feel the king, just like when you see a king in front of you, it produces this awe. So too, Yom Kippur is this feeling, and that's and meaning it's not that you put in the effort to get that way. It's the reality of the situation that's being revealed, and you're sensing that and you're feeling that, and that's why it's coming from above. So the An L'Deidi is our effort in Elul, where you put in, and then you have V'Deidi Li, which is on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, which is coming from above, and God giving it to us. And like we know from experience that in Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, that time period, there's always a sense of something. You always feel connected, inspired a little bit, moved more than general. As much as you might argue with yourself and say you're not, just because Yetzirah is there, but you'll realize you feel something. Whether it's, it could be only one point in the whole time, but you still feel something. And therefore being that in Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, it's this level of Deidi Li. When we have this revelation of this or the king, therefore we call him the king. Like we say in the davening the whole time, we change the wording to Hamelech, because God's kingship is king over all the worlds. Pirush, meaning even in the hidden world, the fear and awe of the king will be even in the hidden worlds. And being that's revealed in hidden worlds, and even down here and below in the physical world, we also feel this revelation of the king. And therefore it causes us, we take upon ourselves the yoke of heaven. And the fear of God will be on us, the whole year. That because of this revelation we have, it causes us to have this want to have Kabbalah Sel, which means to give ourselves over to God, to do what God wants. And just like a servant to his master, a servant does whatever his master wants. It's not about what the servant wants or what the servant thinks about. It's about what the master wants. And so too, that's what happens at this time period. It's all about the servant, it's all about the master. And we take it upon ourselves. That's what we feel. We say to God, I want to do what you want for me. I want to fulfill the mission from why you brought me here. And I'm going to try to do what you want for me. And that affects the whole year. You'll have because a love and fear by itself is not, we don't have it during the year, generally, by itself. Unless we have, really, it's from above, which is coming through this time period. Meaning in the time period, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, it affects the rest of the year of how much Av and Yir will have and how much connection we can have with God and how easy it is to connect to God. Yeah. Here, he goes, he has a footnote over here, he goes, there's a certain dimension of awe and fear that man evokes through his own efforts. On the other hand, the primary element of the awe described here comes from above. Just as a person becomes awestruck in the presence of a person whom he respects and honors, so too the revelation of godliness from above at this time humbles us to leave us overwhelmed by his greatness. And that's what's happening. That in Rosh Hashanah, it's, so to speak, the king revealing himself when you feel that, and that makes you awestruck, which helps you throughout the year. So this is the V'dei Li aspect. So Ani L'Dei is what we put in effort in Elul, which we're going to discuss just in a moment. And what we explained here is the V'dei Li, which is the aspect of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur and God revealing stuff from above. Rak. And like we said, the V'dei Li is what causes us the whole year to have the Ava and the Yira and the Kabbalah to serve God the way we should and be connected and have that feeling of godliness revealed within us. But in order for that to happen, but first, in order to be able to have that, although we just described before, with this Ava and Yira that the Seshmit Shuvah brings with Yom Kippur, you need to first have the Ava and Yira that you do yourself, which is through Elul. And this is what we're going to discuss how to do that. Because so essentially what we're saying is Elul is the time to make it real. It prepare you. It's like you're going to go to do a marathon or do whatever it is. So you have to prepare yourself. Elul is the preparation stage, and Tishrei is what you receive. It's like you're going to do a test, so you have to study for the test. And this is sort of Elul. Elul is that preparation time that you put in the efforts. So then when the times of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur come, you're prepared and you can receive. Because if you don't, well, you won't be able to use up all what there is available for us on Yom Kippur. Yeah, that's essentially what he's saying. So now let's understand this a little bit. Know that's known that in times of Elul, in the times of Elul, it's a revelation of 10 attributes of mercy, 13 attributes of mercy. Yes, Elul, you have this great revelation of godliness. Peter says, Rachmim is going to explain. Lavin Zed, we have to understand this because Kilama Hemi Mesacher, Vein Yamtiv, May Shabbos is Yom Tevim. Shevehemi Skalus, Elikus, Buchinas, Hara, Elikus, Yisbarach. But why isn't Elul a Yom Tov like every other day that has such a great revelation of godliness? So, but specifically, basis man, you'd give Midas Arachamim, you give Midas. Shehema Aral Yenim Oid, Behem is Galim Yom Kippurim. And more specifically, that we're saying there's revelation of 13 attributes of mercy, which is something that is revealed in Yom Kippur, which is it's the highlight of the year. Clearly, there's a very big difference between Elul and Yom Kippur. But why? What is it? Why is Elul just a typical, regular, mundane day, whereas Yom Kippur is Yom Kippur? Why isn't Elul Yom Kippur? It has the same revelation. So what's going on over here? I think we'll stop here and tomorrow we'll give the answer. I think it's a good idea. So yeah, so essentially what we're saying is Elul is the Ani L'Deidi, is I to my beloved, meaning I'm putting in the efforts to connect to God, and V'Deidi Li, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, is the revelation that God brings above. That revelation that God gives in those time period is what helps us have the Ava and Yir and the Kabbalah for the rest of the year, which will help us do everything. Totally, it's like on the appreciation of what you're doing. That's what Tishrei brings. It gives you the appreciation of what you're doing, and therefore, when you don't want to get up, but you understand. It's like I heard once a story that this guy used to go to army bases in Eretz Yisrael on Shabbat, like for Shabbos. So, like I don't know what it was exactly. He's like, a frum Jew, he'll meet Shabbos and then for bringers and talk to them and stuff. So he said the difference he noticed between like the good units, like the well-known like chashva units and the simple units, was the chashva units. They always you'd ask them why you're here, and they always remembered. They never forgot why they came, whereas the other units they forgot. The simple units they forgot. And this is sort of what we're saying, that Tishrei gives us the ability that the rest of the year we'll remember why we're doing this. Remember why I'm here. Why am I getting up? Why am I make sure to go to bed on time? Why am I make sure to eat properly? Why am I make sure to daven in the morning and say brachas and wash my hands in the Nagavasa and be nice to people and take care of myself and all these things that we are going to do throughout the year that's going to be good. The ability to have the connection and not forget why you're doing it, which is the ability to keep on going, is through Tishrei. We specifically Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, but in order for that Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur to happen and to really gain as much as you can, it's through the Hachana of Elul. That's essentially what we're saying. And then we end up asking the question, why is Elul so different than Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur? And why? Yeah, Yom Kippur specifically has the same revelation in Yom Kippur, but clearly Yom Kippur and Elul are very different. So what's going on over here? To be answered tomorrow.